he's been injured player.
Well, I always like to think from a creative standpoint, and losing Lawrence and Hadji already being out going into the season, creative players, and we've said on a number of occasions that Lawrence looked decent, but it's been such a long time ago now that none of that really registers anymore. He was gone before we started the Champions League group games. I can remember him playing really well against Eindhoven away, and that was a real arrival match for him, I thought. So yeah, when you lose the creativity, and obviously in the first part of the season under Gio, that really doesn't help him, does it? So coupled with his mindset, losing a few creative players makes that situation even worse, doesn't it? And then as Albert commented, the centre back pairing of King and Sands, it's a wobbly area as well. So it was really all over, wasn't it? It was going forward, and it was at the back as well. And we haven't even mentioned the strikers.
Yeah, I get you with Tom Lawrence. Here's one for you, Albert. I've got. Everybody's got their favourites. Hadji used to frustrate me, but I think if Hadji would have stayed fit last year, we would have won the league. There you go.
Possibly, possibly. Hard to say, but aye, you might. Put it this way, I don't think you would have weakened us, put it that way. But can I answer the question that you gave to Juicy?
Of course.
The ones I think we missed was Helander, the Goldston when he was out, Davis, and Suter. Up front, Roof and Lawrence and Cholak. I think if they get any of the players or a combination of the players back sooner rather than later, I think it would have made a hell of a difference. And I think it would have made a hell of a difference in Europe as well. We didn't say we would have qualified at the group stages in Europe, but we would have got at least some points on the board. And we wouldn't have took the heavy doings we took. But for me, they were six or seven really crucial players. They're big players for us, these guys. Just for a stance in the team, for a presence, for making the team look a bit more solid. The other ones that were coming in and out and getting injured and getting out and in, and well, fair enough, that happens with every team. But they seize quality players and getting long-term injuries, that's the ones that really hurted us. That really hurt us.
I don't think we'll see Helander again,
Pity, but I think you're right, mate. It's a shame, but I still think he's the best defender we'll go. But we'll not see him. He's done. He's gone. He can't keep him fit. We can't afford to keep him on. I mean, I've seen that thing the other day there that they're talking about paying him sick money after 12 weeks. No, somebody's put some motion down in England for long-term injury players.
All right, if you're injured for 12 weeks, you go on basic sick pay.
Aye, that's what they're talking about, mate. Basic sick pay, aye. Something like £180 or £80 or whatever it is. I don't know what sick pay is, isn't it? But whatever it is, that's what they're talking about beginning. I don't know if that's fair, I don't know if that's right, but I'll tell you, it'll shake a few people up.
There'll be a few wives getting them, but the men playing quite quicker.
There's nothing right with you. Get a working jiggle and get your work.
That's like you when you lost your overtime, all better.
Oh, that was so, mate. That was so a big change in lifestyle, mate. That really was. Oh dear. I had to cut our night out. I said, that's that. Can I take you out now? You finished with that?
Well, she's not a cheap date, mate.
Oh no. She looks cheap, but she's not cheap to take it out.
That's not very nice. That's not true, people. That's not true. Mrs. Albert's a star turn. That doesn't sound very nice, but you know what I mean. You know.
Move on.
I know, taking a hole there.
Before there's a double murder. You know. I think that's a good point Albert makes, Juicy, about the fact is that Highlander's been out for the season. Suter's pretty much been out up till now. And in between that, you didn't have Ben Davis and Connor Golson moving off in the Liverpool game. And remember what the score was, and you know, we're doing all right, and you know, confidence is a big thing. How that affected us. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the injury of one player, regardless of the position, should not legislate a 6-goal collapse in the second half. But it is also an indicator that, and up until that point, don't forget, Ox, he'd had a bit of criticism from fans here or there, but it just showed you at that point that he really, really was, if people didn't believe it, an integral part of our setup and of our defence. So, yeah, it was certainly really, really bad outcome for us losing him in that game the way we did. But the defence, up until pretty much Christmas, wasn't it? It was just being chopped and changed all over the place. And you know, that's obviously, you know, Gio as the manager then, it was a really hard one for him, because if that was Beale, he'd have had the same problems. Beale's actually had a little bit more fortune, hasn't he? With the defensive setup has really solidified since he's been at the club, and it's a far more regular back five, isn't it? Which is advantageous to whoever the club is.
Yeah, and you think about it, James Sands is no longer with us, Albert.
I know. There you go, boys away. To be fair to the boy, he never got a chance, did he really? In his right position, whatever that is. I think it's midfield, isn't it? Certainly no centre half. That's not his position. No. And I thought he'd done at times. I thought he'd done all right at that position, but it's not his position. You couldn't build a team around him and put that away at that position.
No, I get your point. That's a fair point you make about the centre backs. You know, it's a Bridge always goes on about it. It's the foundations of your team, all better.
Don't get me wrong. Whatever the forward line are, you could even add Morelos into that as well, because he wasn't playing at the beginning of the season either. That sounds like excuses, but it's facts. You've got to look at the facts, man. You've got to look at the facts. And going forward, you've got to look at these players and say, look, if you're going to continue break down like this, we can't afford to keep you at the club. It's as simple as that. How you get rid of them? I know that's a debate that we really can't win the argument if the players dig their heels in. But we need to definitely look at it going forward. And we need to be more careful with these players. Yeah, I don't want to get into why they're injured.
They'll all be fit, mate, if they're only getting 12 weeks sick money.
Well, I'm saying that's what they're talking about. I'm the same as you. I mean, there's no way if you're on, say, I don't know, 5, 10, 20 grand a week, and then all of a sudden you get 12 weeks of that, you better get your boots back on, and you're going down to, I don't know what is basic pay money, I don't know what it is. But it's nowhere near what they're getting.
I never read that one. I'll need to see if I can dig that article out.
It's on that Sky Sport the other day.
Oh, right. Well, if it was on Sunday, I'll bet I wouldn't have seen it. You know, but aye. Everybody, Lawrence, I enjoyed watching Tom Lawrence when he came into the team and started getting fit. Juicy. But let's be honest, if I'm being honest, we don't know how good and consistent he's going to be here.
But it's start all over again with him.
Just quickly, Albert, it's £99.35 a week for the first 28 weeks.
Oh, no. I don't think we'll get away with that. I don't think whoever's proposing is going to get away with that one. No, I mean, there's no chance. But I'll tell you, it's an eye-opener, isn't it? It really is an eye-opener. Here's what the rest of the country's on if they're half sick for that amount of time. But anyway, it's so interesting that people are starting to think that way. You know what I mean? It just shows you. I don't know if it came from the Premiership or the Championship, but I'll tell you, see if they get it through. There isn't a league in the world that's not going to fall there. You know what I mean? And say, we're all going down this road because it saved you. Put it this way, how much would it save us this year?
Oh, I mean, long-term injuries, what have we had? Hadji a year. Highlander, really 18 months. Roof, give or take 18 months, no in and out, yeah. Ryan Jack. Tom Lawrence new. Hadji, as I said. You know, these are all big players and Suter.
Morelos was out for a good while as well, so is Roof. So was, what do you call it, Jack? There's another one. You Davis. They're all out. Everybody's been out for it. Well, put it away, all the ones we've mentioned, I think the smallest amount of time they were out for any one of the players was 4 weeks. I think that's the smallest amount of time.
And then if you get injured at your work, Albert, would you know of a claim of lost earnings, industrial injury?
I'll take it out. I'll be against the team that you played.
That's good. Don't know. Just forget. Just kidding. We've never had this conversation. But Lawrence just say, how good do you think he is, or do we know yet? Do we really know? Because the boy, PSV away, you mentioned he was fantastic. And we started saying, right, okay, this boy looks as if he's got something about him for us. But you need to judge somebody in a lot of games, eh?
Of course. And in that particular match, that's at a very high level in terms of the season that Rangers have, teams that we play. A playoff match for the Champions League group stage is pretty much, outside of an Old Firm match, the biggest match we would play in a season, because getting into that group stage, as you know, was so important because we hadn't done it for so long. But yes, you have to measure him over a number of matches. And because he's been out for so long now, it's a complete reset. We don't even know if he'll be the same player when he's back. Some injuries, some players never get over, especially when they're out for so long. Look how tentative we are with Hadji now. He's being very, very slowly brought back into it. And, hopefully Lawrence isn't going to be out for that long. But to be fair, if he's not back until next season, it's going to be getting on towards a year, isn't it?
Yeah, you're spot on. It's not far away, Aye. I'll be putting some of that down to bad luck, Albert. Just pure bad luck.
Aye, some of it will be bad luck. Don't get me wrong, every team goes through injuries. Every team we're no unique in that. It's just the quantity and the long-term ones. There's very few teams that are going through these kind of injuries. I've never known it, really, a team to go through that. Probably Newcastle, I think, back a wee while back, they went through something similar. But it is quite unusual. So, there's a bit of luck involved. I suppose it is, mate. But something, I don't know. There's something else, I think. You can't have 30 players out of 31 players injured. That's not right. That's just not right. Somebody at least needs to ask a question and going, wait a minute, is there anything going on here?
Are we extremely unlucky?
Aye. Or misdiagnosed, or somebody's pulling the wool over somebody's eyes here. Don't get me wrong, I think there's a bit of that goes on. Not too much, but I think there's a bit of that goes on. I don't truly believe what Ruth's injuries are all genuine. I don't see that at all. I've no reason to say that. I've no reason to get any proof to prove that. But
it looks as if, what we're reading about Kemar Roof, whose goal scoring record for minutes on the park is exceptional.
Phenomenal.
He plays in a bog, falls over, lands his shoulder. You can't think anything's going to happen to you, ends up with a bad shoulder. Then we find out that he's had a continuous hip problem. And should that have been fixed 18 months ago, if that's the case?
How did it not get picked up in the medical? That's another one. You're going, he comes to Ibrox, he signs, and then it gets picked up. You're going, well, how was it not picked up in the medical during the transfer? I don't understand that. I don't wish the boy any harm. I don't regret or don't want the guy to get his money. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is it's medical stuff. If you can't pick up something as serious as that during a medical, what is the medical about? No, I don't get what it's about then. It just seems strange to me. It really does seem strange to me. But anyway, again, talking about a turn up, I know nothing about medical stuff. I've no qualifications for this. It's just a question. For a man I've done a bit of management thing, and for a managerial point of view, a question at least needs to be asked.
Aye, because it's dead money. Do you see that's what it all comes down to here?
Yeah, one thing that I don't know for sure, but I would imagine is the case to an extent, is that insurance would pay for some, if not all, of the players' wages in the case of them being out for a long time. That is why clubs have insurances on their players. So one would hope that is the case. But one thing's for sure, our premiums are going to be more expensive for next year.
We've definitely not got no clubs bonus, that's for sure, Albert.
Absolutely.
I tell you, their premium must be higher than a Formula One driver for their players. Not a good grief.
The risk factor is very high.
Before we get these phone lines open, we had a bit of talk last night. Shuggy came on and talked about the 5 players we're going to sign and position-wise, and I pretty much agreed with him. I see there's noise about in the media that Alan McGregor might be keeping him for another year. It's sort of obviously people talking at the moment, but I think we all agree we need a goalkeeper,
We need a goalkeeper. It's no Alan McGregor.
No.
I think if we do that, I think if we keep Alan on for another year, that's just madness. That's madness, mate. It's what the rest of them are out of contract. I just think it's bonkers what you're going to try to start. Because the way people are talking, you listen to the phone in and you listen to the podcast and all that. There's certain people are wanting Jack kept, certain people are wanting, Arfield kept, Davis kept. You go, well, we're just going to keep everybody then. We'll just keep everybody then and just sign more players and tap their players. And you go, can't it be done, mate? It just can't be done. There is no way we can carry all these players.
We need these spaces in the dressing room, mate, yeah?
Absolutely, mate. And you've got to definitely look at your youth setup with a bit more urgency and a bit more harshly, and say, look, you need to start providing players for the back end of this first team. All right, they're not ready, but they should be ready to train with the first team and step in at an emergency situation. They should be there ready to do that at least. And then you go, right, the following season you're wanting to be pushed now for starting positions. If they're not able to do that, what's the point in them? What's the point in them being there? I don't understand this. They should go. They should be part of the exodus. If they're not going to push for first team start, Lowry, Devine, boys like that, King, these boys should be really pushing Goldston, Tavernier and Tillman, Lawrence. They should be pushing to get these guys out the team and them into the team. But I don't see that happening. I just see it as, it's the boys. It's all right. Just put them on the bench. It's good experience for them. Well, it can't keep on being good experience. You need to make your presence felt within the squad.
Maybe if you only get £99 a week, they would want to get in the first team to get the full wages up there.
A lot of them want a Joe Van Asda, you know what I mean? So come off. I'll get a Joe Van Asda stacking shelves.
So what would your first signing, Juicy, your first position, what would it be if your recruitment, your head of recruitment for the night, Juicy?
Oh, we desperately need a goalkeeper, Ox. Old Bear's totally correct. It's we cannot be sentimental FC again, re-signing this old boys club who are players who have done extremely well for this club. And I include Kent and Morelos in that, even though we have a bit of a love-hate relationship with some of the fan base. But these guys have been with us for years. And this is why I'm one of these people that's not concerned about Kent or Morelos if they do leave, because they've been with us for a long time. But I think a goalkeeper, you've got to start off with that, because McLaughlin, suspect. McGregor, really good keeper, but he's old. Did well to get another season, and to be fair to the guy, he's actually done all right this season. But the time has passed now, and we've got to start looking at younger people. You can get keepers that are into their 30s, and you can still get a good 6-7 years out of them. So we don't have to go crazy young. We could go for experience. We've got to get something. So that would be my first order of business, as I'm sure it will be in the summer for Ross Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, Albert, we'll come to you, but I think it's all right to get these phone lines open. If you're all right with that, mate?
You wire in, bud. I can't wait.
Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
So now you're head of recruitment, your first signing, Albert?
Goalkeeper, mate.
Well, it's funny that the two have got the same priority. You know, either the couple of
I think
changes.
in total, mate, we need 7 players, no 5, 7. We need 7 players. My positions with the goalkeeper, as I said, 2 fullbacks, a centre half, upgrade Lundstrom and Jack, and a quality centre forward. That's what we need, mate. That's a given, mate. We really, really need that, because we've got to have a strength within the team. We've got to have the core upgraded and improve the bench all at the same time. Well, improving the bench can be pretty simple, because the players you've got playing first team football at the moment, and you're going to upgrade, you whack them onto the bench, and you upgrade the positions. The 2 fullbacks and a centre half. The 2 fullbacks need to be upgraded as well, mate. We can't keep going on like this. This is nonsense now. This is absolute nonsense. The goals we keep.
What about Redvan?
Yeah, I'm putting him aside, mate. I'm putting him aside. He could be the answer, but at the moment we'll go to see that. We don't know, mate. Up until he proves it, we need 2 fullbacks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And are you assuming, Albert, that Morelos, Kent, Arfield, Jack, Stephen Davis, Sir Stephen Davis, Alan McGregor, and that are all they're all gone?
They're all gone, mate. All of them.
Are you similar?
I'd Lundstrom and Kamara into that, I know.
Potentially,
well, a couple of weeks ago, Old Bear went through a whole portfolio, didn't he, of the entire Rangers squad. So I'm not going to replicate that.
I've not recovered for Old Bear doing some homework.
No, I know. I'm not going to replicate that, because it will look like I'm just stealing the man's homework. But I've just been looking through the Rangers squad on the Rangers homepage, and there's a lot of dead weight there that will go this summer. And if not, there's going to be a lot of fans asking a lot of serious questions this board. So we know Helander, Davis, players like that will be gone. McGregor, quite likely McLaughlin as well. And then there's serious questions over some of the players that have been out injured for so long. Will they come back in? Matondo, will Hadji be retained? There's some of the younger players. We saw that McCann already moved on this season, but he never really made the first team. But younger players like Lowry, will Lowry be retained? Tillman, obviously there's issues there in terms of whether or not we'll have first choice on him. New manager at Bayern, who knows what will happen there. But we do need a clear out. Ruth, everyone likes Ruth in his ability, as you were saying earlier. His stats are good, but his stats for not being available are also pretty bad as well. So you've got to weigh that up, Ox. Do you get sentimental about the fact that the guy scored a few cute goals for us here or there, which he has done? I'm not trying to undermine him.
There's a football decision, Juicy, and there's an economic decision as well. The people who run the club have got a responsibility, both. Yeah. But obviously he's got a year and a bit of his contract left, mate, yeah?
Yeah, and you're not likely to renew that in a year's time. So you probably move him on now and get a little bit of money for it.
I don't know who's been banging your door down for that one, Albert.
What's that, pal? Repeat that.
I don't know who's going to be banging your door down to take your roof off your Hornsby's record at the moment, unfortunately,
Nah, he's going nowhere, isn't he? Unfortunately, mate, we want him to go maybe, but who's going to take him? He's going nowhere. Yeah, and I'm no for this. We'll just pay him off, carry on. You know what I mean? So you go. It's just a lose-lose situation for Rangers at the moment regarding that boy. His time out, as Juicy says, it negates anything he does on the park. It really does, mate. Plus some. I don't even think you're getting 50-50, you know what I mean? It's more 70-30 against him at the moment. He's a quality player. There's no doubt about it, mate. He is a quality player. But you can't be a quality player for less than a third of the game of the season. No, I mean you've got to be on there producing it a bit more regular than that. But it is what it is with him. No, I mean his ability is no in question. It's just his application. Does he want to be fit? That's my question with him, because his history of other clubs as well. It's the exact same thing with other clubs. I mean, the Leeds fan, some of the Leeds fans were on Wallen is what like he was going. You'll love him as a player, they kept saying, but you'll get frustrated with him because he's never on the park. He's always out injured. True to their word, that's what's exactly happened. And I think that's happened to every club that he's been with. So there's something seriously wrong with this boy. There's just either his body's not up to it, so he shouldn't really be a professional football player, or he's not as injured as he's trying to make it, or every wee niggle becomes a serious injury in his head. I mean, many first team professional players play their whole career without niggles. No, they actually go on the park and just play through them. But you get other players who, if their laces snap or whatever, they're not going on. That's finished. They've chipped their nail polish, they're not going on.
Yeah, this is his third season with 18 league games started, 9 league games started, no league games started. Obviously, a total of 27 in 3 seasons. This is nearly done. And another 21 appearances. Yeah?
Out of possible 100 odd games.
What's that, mate?
When is that? 100 odd games?
Well,
possible.
Yeah, nearly 3 seasons, mate. So you're talking about close to 114 games, eh?
Just league games, no counting cup games and European games.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? If you think about it that way, 27 games he started, that's ridiculous.
League
for a player his quality.
League games, a total of 42 started in all competitions, 36 substitute appearances. You know, and you would need to get the minutes to see how much they were, because, 5 minutes at the end just isn't exactly an appearance, is it? But these goal scoring, if you want to dress up a stat and try and get rid of them, it's 42 starts, 36 goals.
It's incredible, isn't it? Do you think about it? It's incredible.
It's how you make a stat look good, Ox, though, isn't it? You can.
Exactly.
It's a political thing, isn't it? With politicians, they do it all the time. You can tart up a stat.
I'd be adding, and he doesn't eat much either.
Carry on, Jesse.
I think Ruth is a player who, if he was fit and healthy consistently, he wouldn't be playing in the Scottish Premier League. He'd be at a club in one of the top 5 leagues in Europe, and he would be a regular starter scoring goals. And in the Scottish Premier League, where Rangers have got multiple strikers to choose from most of the time when everyone's fit, certainly not this season or towards the end of last season. But when we started to lose strikers, it became more and more noticeable that his longevity was being noticed by the fans in terms of how unavailable he was, despite the fact that his scoring prowess was excellent when he did play. It was all being negated by his inability to get fit, Ox. And what would we rather have? Maybe a striker who isn't quite so clinical, isn't quite as regular with the scoring, but is always available, works hard on the pitch, and does a good job all round. I think we'd rather have that, rather than someone who occasionally turns up, scores, then falls over on his arm and is out for another 2 weeks.
Well, he's not coming the 17th of next month, which isn't that far away, Albert. That's him not started a game in a year.
I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it? That's just ridiculous. How injured can you be, I mean, I don't know if he went for any surgery during that. I know he's away for a bit of surgery this time, but within the last period, or up until this time, has he been for any surgery? I mean, what is wrong with him? I don't understand what's wrong. But again, it's Rangers fans. We don't get dealt things. We just get kept in the dark with most things. So why know him? But all we see, all we see or don't see is he doesn't play. That's all we see, mate. That's all you know. He just doesn't play.
Yeah. Well, come and join us. These are your thoughts. Who should be retained? Who should go? How many we need? going forward, because it'll be in Turkish before we know it, and obviously the games are going to come thick and fast, and we've all got a better idea of what's going to happen in this end of the season. Do you see? It'll answer a lot of questions for us.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the biggest summers that we've had in a while, Ox, in terms of transition. But that being said, we've had a number of transitional seasons, haven't we, in the last 5-6 years? Manager changes and player changes as a result of new managers come in. What we really want now, Ox, is a period of a few years where we can hopefully keep the same manager, compete at the highest level for all of the domestic trophies, and try and be consistent in Europe again. And so what we don't want is changing our manager on a yearly basis, because we're not going to get that consistency. But it'll be a big summer. There'll be a lot of change. Could be as much as a dozen players leaving. It'll just be interesting to see whether we'll get the same number back in. But we need quality.
All right, so that's the negative. We'll look at a lot of the negative stuff. We've got to get players out, the injured players. What's the positives at the moment as we sit today, Albert?
The positive at the moment is we've got a good basis for a team going forward. I mean, I totally think that's right, because I'm quite happy with what's left. Regarding get rid of the ones that are contracts are at the end anyway. Get rid of them. Get rid of some of the first team that we really don't need, and the ones that we can build the team round. I mean, there's about 9 players there you can build. You start building a team, then a squad room, and I'm quite happy with that. And there's good quality in there, and it's better quality than we really had, because a few of them are injured players that we're getting back on the park, hopefully. So that's the positive for me. I mean, I see light at the end of the tunnel. I really do see light at the end of the tunnel. But only, as Juicy says, we can't be sentimental FC. We can't be. We've got to take the scalpel out, mate, and cut away the dead wood. We've got to do it. It's just part of life. So if we do that, I think the future's bright, mate. I think we've got a real chance of building a half decent team here.
Juicy.
We know that we've got the basis of a good team, despite everything that we've said in terms of ripping some of the injured ones and their records to pieces. We've brought in a couple of really good midfielders in Cantwell and Raskin, and that we've seen that on the pitch, and we've seen them grow in stature. And they still haven't played a crazy amount of games, have they? But you can see the quality, and you can see, in particular with Cantwell, that ability as well, that level of play, which show you how good he was in the English Prem, albeit briefly.
I think Cantwell started their games already, and Roof has in the last 14 months and having a go at Roof. There's a start for you.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Oh dear. But see, if you look at it, I mean, I've got 9 players. I'll tell you my 9 players if you want.
Have you wrote these down?
Aye, that's been my last lists. I'm not sure that way I've kept it. Davis, Devine, Yilmaz, King, the Polish boy, Lawrence, Cantwell, Raskin, and Lowry. Right. Tillman. I would sign Tillman. Don't get me wrong. I'd put him in, which would take you up to 10 players. And I think that you can start building the team around him. If Suter keeps fit, I would want to see Suter this season, but I'd want to see him at least many games is left, about 12 or something like that, counting a couple of cup games if you get to the final. So say 14 games and we get to the final. I'd want to see him at least 8 of them. But then you'd either have to change the shape or Goldson starts getting dropped out the team and give the boy a chance to see where you go. Because I think we can build around him if he is the player that everybody thinks he's going to be. So I can add to him. There's 11 if you add a Suter to it. Now, I'm not saying that's the 11 starting that, because you need other players in there to build a team. Know what I mean? That's no the team. That's just 11 players of a squad.
I need to go for a line down. I'm in shock. Do you see Albert's in the pen out again?
I love it. I love being educated by him when he does his homework.
That's what happens, you see, when you finish your colouring in book too early. Start writing things down.
You ever seen him do Sudoku? You ever seen him do the Sudoku, do you see? Oh, seconds, mate. All the numbers, not in the right order, but they're all in there.
Oh, they're all there. That's just mind-numbing, that game. Whoever thought that up one shot? They really did, by the way. That's mind-numbing, that.
Right, Juicy, what do you make of Albert's list?
I think there's very little that one could disagree with there. And some of it's clear and obvious, isn't it, Albert? You know, there's not much thought process needed with a few of those, because we would all be absolutely astounded if some of those guys were to stay. And I think there's a few others, you know, that I'm thinking about as to, you know, whether or not, you know, they would keep them on. There's a few that we probably have to say a 50-50, like, you know, like a Scott Arfield. Would he be good for another season? He's been used quite sparingly, hasn't he, this season? But he's definitely shown his abilities as a substitute player, and I think that's actually where his strengths have been for a couple of seasons now. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having some impact players. But again, he's just a player who's been with us for years, and you just feel like, should we start shopping for some more impact players? Players that are on fringes and haven't really been seen too much, are they going to be given an opportunity, or will they be loaned out? I think we'd all love to see Devine given a bit more opportunity next season, but that really depends on how the other fullbacks are doing. You know, you've got Ridvan, you've got Barisic, you've got Tav. Where is he in that pecking order? He's possibly fourth, although we've seen him more than we have seen Yilmaz this season.
Very interesting to see him who starts the next game, Ridvan or Borna comes back in. Obviously, Ridvan didn't do a lot wrong, he didn't do a lot right against Murray, but he was getting his fitness. Do you see it?
Well, I think, to be fair, Ox, that's really all the rest of the season is about for these players that are coming back into the team. These are not fitness matches per se, they're all important matches. But we have to recognise where we are in the league, and I want to use that time to get this team back up to a level where it can be very effective over the summer and into next season. And we've competed well under Bill. There's no doubt about that. But we've got to maintain that whilst reblooding some of these players. Yilmaz didn't exactly get many games for us before he got injured. So I still see him as an almost a brand new player.
Yeah, well, he is a new player, isn't he? We've not seen enough. Like Lawrence, Albert, we've not seen enough to know how good they are. We can't judge, can we?
No, and see, to my mind, we've painted ourselves into a corner. We're in a catch-22 now because of our results this season. Because we can't bring players in because there's still stuff to play for and blood them in and see what it is, because you're trying to get a settled team and going forward for the most important games coming up in the season. But you can't let these players fester in your bench or fester in the stands, because you need to see what they've got for next season. But you only can do that by playing them. So you're starting to get into a catch-22 situation and going. And the results throughout the season were different, and we're chasing the league at the moment. You might have been already seen some of these players playing, or you'd be saying, right, we can put them in because we've got a lead in the league, or we've won a cup, blah blah blah. Now, the situation, you go, what do you do with boys like Ridvan, who is fit to play now? Do you leave Barisic out and put him in? But if you leave Barisic out, we're trying to blend the team for getting into the semi-final game and the remainder of the league games. So what do you do with that one? Now, what happens if you bring Ridvan in and he starts playing well? Do you keep him and leave Barisic out? So it's one of these situations you go, you get yourself into a dilemma here and say, I don't know what to do now. Same as Suter. If you put Suter in and he outshines Golson, you say, do you bring Golson back in because he's got the more experience, blah, blah, blah. So I think we'll go to ourselves into a pickle now. How he's going to manage his way out of this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to watch. And the game on Saturday, is it Saturday or Sunday this week, is going to determine how his thinking's going.
Well, obviously you've got international football and you might alter your squad, but it's going to be interesting how this pans out. It's going to give us lots to talk about as people come and go. But we don't care if players stay or go or who comes in as long as we're successful. They will really ultimately.
To quote my big daddy-o, as he's always said to me, he doesn't care if they're Eskimos playing for Rangers as long as they give everything and play well for the club. And I share that sentiment. I don't care from what corners of the earth these players come from, as long as they have that passion. And you know something? A good example of that to me is a Fashion Sakala. He might not be the best, most gifted finisher you've ever seen. He might lack some composure and some ability in some areas, but the drive and determination he has shown to fight for his place, patience and biding his time, now getting into this team and actually making a real difference, coupled with his unpredictability on the pitch, shows me that I really rate the boy, and that's what I want to see at this club. And you can take a player who's maybe hasn't performed too well or too consistently, and you can still mould them into a really good player, and that's the sign of a good management team as well.
I've read in the media that Sakala's been getting a wee bit of stick for the Zambian fans. There might be not be Rangers Zambian fans that's giving him stick, for being a wee bit greedy, was the article I read, if that makes sense. But I mean, we know he can frustrate, but he scored a good goal for him in one of their kits, there's just something about him, it's just unpredictable, isn't it?
I don't know what people are wanting off that boy. I mean, as I keep pointing out, the boy's in every game he plays, whether he's playing well or he's playing bad, he's involved in the game. He never hides. You always know he's on the park. Never hides away. He'll get on the ball, he'll trip over the ball, but you see him. He's always visible. He's always trying, and he can score, and he can create. And I mean, what is it we're wanting off this boy? I mean, the Zambian fans that don't like him, what is it you want? The guy scored a cracking goal the other day there to bring you back level in a game that you went on to win. So I don't understand what's not like. You're selfish. All forwards are selfish, especially centre forwards. Some of the greatest centre forwards in the world, if you look at them, they would never pass a ball. Never in a million years would they pass a ball, especially if they're in anywhere close to or in the area. They'd shoot it every time. Brian Ali McCoy's was like that. Give him a sniff, he'll shoot. Never always scored, but he'll shoot. He'll definitely shoot. So he's like Allah's day, and it comes instinctive to him. He's instinctively going to shoot. I don't see anything wrong with that. Because let's be honest, Juicy, we've been greeting now for long enough of players in our team that don't shoot. They get in a position to shoot and they won't take the shot on. Visa Carla's not like that. He'll shoot. He'll probably shoot when he shouldn't shoot, but he'll shoot. And I like that. I like a player that's visible and involved in the game, whether he's playing bad, whether he's playing good. It doesn't matter to him. He'll try 100% all the time. What else? I don't know. I don't know much more that you can do if you're a professional football player. Okay, you might get better quality. You might get guys that are better technically, blah, blah, blah. But you want to find big bucks for these type players. And that's the money we've not got.
I like Sakala. As you say, you're frustrated, you'll scream at the pitch, you'll scream at the game, you'll get annoyed if you're watching it on TV, you'll say, you fell over the ball. But he's likely to take a spectacular as well, would you say?
That's what I love about him is that unpredictability. But we've seen the quality. We've seen it at Parkhead. We've seen it in other bigger matches as well this season. He's come more into it, and he's getting that opportunity. And the goal he scored for Zambia was off the left side. And I keep saying it. I'll say it again now. I want him to get opportunities playing on the left for Rangers too.
Is he ready-made to come in and replace Ryan Kent consistently in that same area? Albert?
if Kent's playing on the left, I think he's more effective than Kent on the left as a winger or as a wide player. Not so much a winger, but a wide player. But Kent's not playing that role now, mate. But Kent, the role where Kent's playing at the moment, I don't think Sakala could do. I don't think Sakala could do that. No, I don't think he could replace him now. But he could have, if the Gio role that Kent was playing, Sakala can play that better than Kent. He's more effective, put it that way, and he scores goals and he creates goals. So that's enough. That's where that area of the pitch is supposed to be. You know what I mean? Forget about the petty patterns that they want football players to play at the moment. There is certain players in certain positions that you want them just to be effective, and that's one of the positions. And he is. I've got to admit, he is. He's better at Kent at it. But no, Kent's moved now, so no.
It wasn't great against Motherwell, you see, scored that heater with a back heater.
Yeah, well, it was a strange team performance against Motherwell, I thought. So I don't think you could really single one guy out because it was a bizarre performance. Defensively, we weren't very good. In the second half, we played a lot better. So it was a strange game. But we still managed to get 3 points away from home and score 4 goals. Fashion was a part of that. So he's becoming more consistent, even though you never quite know what he's going to do. He's scoring goals. He's assisting goals. Got into the FIFA Team of the Week. So, there's people are noticing him.
I like him.
I like him too, mate. He's good fun to watch, isn't he? He makes the game fun. He does. He's good fun to watch. He drives you nuts. Drives you completely crazy at times, as you've pointed out, mate. Absolutely bonkers. But when he gets it right, he's effective. He really is.
Aye. But as they say, if you don't know what you're going to do, how's the defender meant to know what you're going to do?
His teammates are not. It must drive him crazy. What is this in your head? Full of wee broken bottles and wee motors, by the way. I don't think there's much in his head regarding any sense coming towards football, but he just does it instinctively. And some of the best players in the world play instinctively. They don't know what they're doing. They just do it. They couldn't tell you how they done it. They just done it. That's some of the best players that's ever played the game.
One of the things I find frustrating, I don't think he knows the offside rule, I'll be honest.
I don't think I know it. I mean, it's mad now, isn't it? It's just mad. If you look at that goal, Motherwell's first goal, 3 of them were offside, mate. And the old rules, or the old way it was played, 3 of them were offside when the ball was played. 3 of them, no one, 3. But we'll play on, and one of the guys that's offside at the start of the move puts the ball in the net, but he's still no offside. You're going, well, that's an advantage. He had an advantage there. But it doesn't work that way. I don't know. The second phases, first phases, second phases. I don't think the linesmen know how. They take a stab at it. And everybody keeps saying, put the flag up early. There's another one. Put the flag up early. What's the point of VAR if they're going to put the flag up early? I don't get that. Everybody keeps going on about this. Oh, there could be injuries and all that. They don't put that flag up. It's nonsense, mate. He can't put the flag up because they've got VAR. If he puts his flag up early, that means the offside's given. So the VAR's never going to look at it and reverse that because the decision's been given, the game's now alive again. So he's got to let the whole thing play out before he puts the flag up, especially if the ball is in the net.
Just some of the offside things that happen just now, they let things play on and then they pull it back. I mean, somebody's going to get hurt.
How are they, mate? That's the point I'm getting. How are they? It's just that the game played out. It's just keep. In fact, I don't even think we should have linesmen now. To be honest with you, mate, I don't think there's any need for them anymore. Because if you don't score, right? If you don't score, it doesn't matter if you're onside or offside, right? But if you do score, every goal's getting checked anyway. So that's when you correct it when they score. But up until they score, there's no point to pulling people up for offsides. What's the point? It doesn't make any difference whatsoever to the game.
Who's going to give the throw-in?
Who's going to give the throw-ins? They may as well just let the referee do that because you need to take stuff away from him and give him other stuff that he should be doing. This carry on about, my big bugbear was this extra time, injury time nonsense. It just gets it really annoys me. He should be an official timekeeper. It just really, really annoys me. and plus this advantage, player advantage.
Here's one for you, Albert. Should the Bobby in play or the game be in play for 45 minutes, maybe no in play? If they stop the thing with the clock, in professional football, should the clock stop? So, yeah, but they do in rugby. They stop the clock, didn't they?
Aye, they stop the clock, mate.
And that would do away with all time. That would do away with all time wasting, wouldn't it?
Well, definitely. There's no point to time wasting. There's just absolutely no point to it. It takes the tactic, because you got to remember, in football, every negative tactic they can think of, they'll do, like time wasting, injury, go down injured, don't go up until the referee stops the game. If a team's breaking away, you go down injured, we'll kick the ball out, or you should kick the... I mean, they use everything as a tactic, a negative tactic. There's never anything used in football as a positive tactic, never. It's always negative. And that in itself tells you something. It tells you that the game needs revamped. The thoughts of the game needs revamped. But why are they doing it? Because they want to win. Why do they want to win? Because you only get money when you win. So you go, well, what's the point of this? It's too professional now for me. It's way too professional. And we've actually boxed ourselves into a corner where we can't get out of now. You get professional fouls, you've got VAR, you've got offsides, you've got guys just lying down, kidding on they're injured when they're not injured. You've got concussion. People, as soon as you get a bang in the head now, there's about 1 million people around you, helicopters hovering above you to whip you away to the hospital. You've got everything now, mate. But is the game any better for it all? No. As a spectacle, I'm talking about. No. Is it worse? Definitely. It's definitely boring now. Boring beyond belief.
A few interesting topics there. Juicy.
Well, it's very interesting. I would agree on the point that you made, Ox, regarding the rugby-style stoppages. I would be a big advocate of that, because there's no argument. It's black and white. The ball goes out of play, the clock stops. It's not possible to time waste, really. So that would be a big thing for me. I don't know why they haven't done it, because obviously the ball would be in play for longer. Fitness would be more of an issue, which would probably cause us a lot more worries at this club. Because the ball's only really in play for about an hour, isn't it? So the ball would be in play for the full 90 minutes. So that would be quite interesting. Maybe they'd chuck a couple more subs in. But I would love that, because you get more game time and you get a lot less mincing around and prima donnas.
An hour and a half game could last 2 hours. That's the only thing, Juicy.
It's happening in the snow, isn't it?
I was near eyes, getting close to it.
Just interesting thoughts, I don't know how we go on to that, Albert. Maybe you should have went for that FIFA job.
Aye. As a Johnny. One of the buildings, mate. That's the only job I had to go to FIFA.
Right, if it's all right with you, we're going to go on mute and we're going to have a tune, but come and join us, give us your thoughts. Listen, we know what you're doing, don't we? We know what we're doing tonight, Albert, don't we?
Watching the Scotland game, mate.
I never said that, you said that. Right, come and join us, give us your thoughts. 0141 356 1972 after the tune. Get yourself on mute. Have a tune, Foxy boy.
See them march on, marching on through the years of history. Heads held on high, for the jersey they would do or die. Fight for right, play the game with the badge of glory. Win, lose or draw, that's the Glasgow Rangers.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Back, gentlemen.
I'm back.
Yes.
Right. I've a message for Port Barry. Wants to know if you were happy with his colour this year at the function.
Aye, definitely. Mate. I used to have a brown dog. He looked dead light. The same colour. He was like a mahogany fence this year. He wasn't too dark.
Oh dear. Right.
I looking well.
What about how important is it in recruitment? Just say that people get what they're coming to get our club. Yeah. How important is that? And I'm going to come to a second point after that.
It's always important to educate these guys as soon as they're in about the importance of the club, history of the club, all of the trophies that we won, our legacies in Europe, etc., both the good times and the bad times. But they need to know everything. You've seen some players come in and really grasp that. I'd say Cantwell's a good example, and Raskin. They're absolutely loving it. You've also seen some players come in and they've struggled with the expectation and the expectation both from the club and the fans, obviously. They're very demanding, and a Rangers manager's only ever a couple of matches away from a crisis. Oxford, if you draw a couple of games or you lose a game, the pressure's immediately on. So that there's a lot there that players need to be prepared for. I think this is why it's always important to keep a couple of players in and around the club who have been with us for a while, so they can do that education. It doesn't mean that we should keep everyone, though. As I just said, we still need a big clear out this summer, but you do need some continuity also.
Same question to you, Albert.
Say that again. What was the question again, mate? I would caught up with something.
All right, it was. It's whether it's important that people get our club.
All right, aye. Aye. It's the trouble is you can't fill the full team up with Rangers supporters because there's not enough good football players that support Rangers. You know what I mean? For a Rangers background, I'm talking about. I wish there was, but there's no. See, what annoys me is that mob sign players right away and they get it right away. They play against us and you can see the hatred in them and the sheer determination. We sign players and they're just nice people and they don't get it right away. They eventually read the phone or them. They eventually get it, but they don't get it right away. They go to sample it and feel it. That mob don't. As soon as they walk in that door, they just go on the hatred bag right away. Study that for the next day or two. So for that point of view, it's important that you get people in who understand the club right away for the day one. But I don't think it's important that you need too many of them. You need the right ones. Don't get me wrong. I love supporting Rangers, 7 players that support Rangers. I'd love it, but it's not going to happen, mate, because the quality is not there. It's just not there. Wish it was, but it's not.
So I'm glad you mentioned Jermaine Defoe obviously has been in the press today and partly yesterday after the Legends game, he's saying how much he enjoyed his time at the club. Is he's a guy, and also his mother got it for day one. Is he a guy who wish we'd have got sooner? Juicy?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the guy was excellent. I mean, we're talking about Roof's goals to game average. You were always loving the stats on Jermaine's stats in terms of goals to game and minutes ratio.
I'll check that out for you, mate.
And the guy was phenomenal. And you'd have had him even 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Just an absolute legend of a player. Every club he's been at, he's been well received, well thought of, and he's provided the goals. And that's the guy's legacy. He was a goal-scoring machine. Yes, he had a few clubs, but he did the business everywhere. And it was just a shame we saw him at the end of that career, but he certainly provided for us as well when he was given the opportunities. And I love the fact that he's such a big advocate for the club as well after playing for us. Oxja, are you still there?
I think you dropped out, mate.
I'm just still there. I'm just checking out the Jermaine Defoe stats, you know. And I'm just getting them for his. But it's just the way he's
a class act, mate.
Aye, the way he conducts himself, you know, for football wise, he's well thought. He interviews well. Obviously, he's trying a career in management now, but honest, Albert, yeah.
Aye, I don't mean hope he gets it, but whether he's going to be a good manager, that time will tell with that one, or a good coach, that time will tell. But he was certainly a good player. There's no doubt about that. Brilliant goal scorer. Brilliant. The goal he scored against Livingston, I mean, that'll live with me forever. That was just sheer quality.
Right, see if you can guess. I'll give you a guess. 32 games started. How many goals?
32 started. Let's say 22.
Did you see?
Oh, 32. So I think he scored at least 15 odd goals for us, surely.
32 games started. Now remember stats, you can make stats mean anything. 32 games started, 32 goals scored.
Oh my goodness, that's just phenomenal.
But there was 42 substitutes appearance, but you make stats mean anything, Albert.
That's true, mate. You can make them mean anything, mate. But it's still a good record, isn't it? I mean, no matter what way you want to dress it up, it's still a good record. And some of the goals he scored were pure quality. I mean, that's going to take some. You've got to take that into consideration, I should say, because that one against Livingston, I mean, that was a thing of beauty. That was just a thing of beauty. But he's a great wee player. Loved the club. Eventually, I don't want to go to the club right away. I think when he actually got to the club, when he was going out in private life and getting pulled up in his private life with the usual scumbag, you know what I mean? I think that's when he started really getting it. I think that's when the penny finally dropped. Don't get me wrong, I think they understand the club when they come in and how important it is and how big it is and blah, blah. They all say the right things. But it's when you're out on the park, mate, I like to see the sheer will and determination. And I've not seen it for a lot of the players. In fact, I've seen a few players collapse under it.
By the way, it's 2.5 years since he started again for us, the four of them. It's hard to believe it. You know. Anyway, talking about people who are good starters, I've been joined by old Davey. How we doing, mate?
I'm fine. How you doing? Good evening, Ox. Good evening, Juicy, and the lovely man I met on Saturday.
I enjoyed your company, mate. Enjoyed your company.
Oh, it was good. I opened up a time capsule in there. I mean, apart from meeting yourself and going back to who you knew, who I knew, I got to know young James Paul, who I grew up with his dad. And that was an amazing night. It was just, I would say somebody mentioned it yesterday that if you get a chance to go to anything like that, get going up, guys. Go and be there because you'll no regret it. It's a great experience. Anyway, back to the football. Did you mention, Ox, about giving McGregor a contract?
I never said it, Davey. I said there's been talk in the papers today. Yes.
Well, that was. I'm with Albert about that. You know, I'm Albert's spot on there, and he says it well. It's just my way of thinking as well. You cannot get down that. If we do anything like that, we're going.
Don't be a suit because you know him, all right? Carry on.
Brilliant. No, it's we can't happen. That can't happen. That just can't happen. That's going back a million miles.
I agree with you, but stranger things have happened, yeah.
Well, we said that, I know, after the cup final last year, and look what happened. We can't do that again.
I don't disagree with you, mate. Juicy?
No, I do not want to see that happen again. It's just gets me down, all the chopping and changing and managers changing. I just want consistency, Ox. That's all I want. Just want some consistency with the team, some consistency with the management, and some consistency with players not getting injured on the pitch. However, let's try and be a bit positive, Juicy. We are getting some consistency with the players on the pitch right now. And Ox, little bonus, the injury situation is slowly easing.
Aye. Alan McGregor's been reasonably consistent for us, but I think we all know that at sands of time, it's just you want him to leave the right way. You don't want to be a boxer goes out punch drunk, if that makes sense, Albert.
You don't want him to lose any reputation, you know what I mean, because of his age, you know. You want the guy to go out with his head held high, and the great thoughts we've had him and what he was when he played for us. So I agree with that. But it's time for him to go. It really is time for him to go. No harm with the guy, but it is time. Time catches everybody, you know what I mean? So you've just got to accept it and go on with it. But he was a great keeper. I don't think he's been a great keeper in the last couple of years, but he has been a great keeper. He's been an okay keeper. He's been the best keeper at our club. But that doesn't make him the keeper he was the years going by. The last couple of years, I think he's been pretty poor in certain games. In fact, last season, I actually think he cost us the league, to be perfectly honest with you. But this season, along with other players, he's not been the best. But hey-ho. You've got the sentimentality can't go. I think everybody knows this. We're not saying anything that probably the majority of the Rangers fans know. They know themselves. They would say the same things if they were on here tonight. It's great to see them, their careers, and it's great to applaud them. But I don't want to sit and boo Alan McGregor. I would never boo him anyway. But I wouldn't want to. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want him to be subjected to any boos or anything like that, or get off the park or whatever. Like I know after what he's done for us.
I agree. You want to try and leave. You deserve to leave. But listen, we're not saying we would sign him, David. We're saying that it was talked about. You know, obviously, there's been no domestic stories to come with David. So let's just say it's paper talk, mate. Yeah.
Oh, I totally agree with you. But I mean, it's one of these scenarios that you've got to. It's not a case of you're thinking. I mean, I wish the guy all the best, and he's been marvellous. That's the thing is that we move on, and if we go into that scenario, we're not moving on. That's just my opinion, and I definitely don't see it happening this year. I don't see them. They've got to get that defence sorted out, and I think they will, because I think he still must see what we're seeing. And if we can come on shows like your show, this brilliant show, and make a comment about, I mean, we've all played football, and you can see it, and it's the same mistakes all the time. So that's something he's got to get sorted. And if he keeps what he's got, he gets stagnated, and we're getting stagnated in there at the back.
I'd be interested to see it, Andrew. I mean, I'm with you. I thought that was just one song at the cup final, Albert.
I think everybody thought that. My only concern, I meant to say, regarding this is Beale's sentimentality, because he's known a lot of the players. That's the real concern I've got regarding him going off. Well, I'll keep them on because they've done a good job for me, and the blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like, Arfield's a great guy. You know, I don't doubt for a minute that these guys are great guys. I'm not saying they're no. I'm not saying they're good people. But definitely. But time waits for nobody. We know that. So it's time to go. It's time to go. So my concern is him. I hope he's not too sick. Because remember, this is his first managerial job. So this is where the big calls need to start getting made. And some of them are no pleasant. So if you're rid of somebody you don't like, that's one thing. But getting rid of somebody you actually do like as a person, that's quite another matter altogether.
So you see, we're going to get rid of people we do like. Is that what you're saying, Albert?
Aye.
All right, Davey, thanks for the call, mate. We'll speak to you soon, all right? Anyway, we'll be joined by Andy Felix. Evening, Andy.
Oh, good evening, guys. I just did a line coming in there. That's going to get me into trouble, I think. Yeah. No, listen, I'd like to think that that's just paper talk. Like, if Bill's got a common sense, he ain't going to do that. That's suicide. The guys have got to go now. They've been great servants to their club, but Father Time, you can't beat. We have to put on new players. I'm pretty sure Bill's going to be looking at that. I think that would be disastrous to re-sign McGregor, Arfield, and then kind of guys. And even Jack, pains me to say it right enough, but if he can't show any fitness to the end of the season, you've got to be looking at him as well. Or he pays a play deal now, will his wife and himself accept that kind of contract put him in these days. So,
all bears want to give him £99 a week.
I heard that right on the sick, aye. Aye. Well, like you say, a lot of them might suddenly not get injured as much or not be as injured as much, like, you know. But no, we've got to go forward now. You know, we don't know who's coming in the future. That's the beauty of it in the close season. We're going to be looking at and you know, looking at who we're going to get, and then we're going to start talking about what we think they can do for them when we see them on the pack. But no, I can't. I do agree with Albert as well. I think looking at 5, I think that's well undercooked. I mean, I know we've got to get players off the books, but you know, can't say we need more than 5. But will come down to what budget they're given and who he picks for the team. So hopefully it'll all go well for, you know, in the long term.
Our squad is inflated, but Andy, there's a lot of players. I mean, there's, you know, I think, what did you name? 31? Was it, Albert? Was that your list?
Aye, 31, mate. It might be more, but I'm saying there's 31.
You know, that's a lot of wages, mate, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And with them no playing, mate. With them no playing, it just it affects your ability to turn over the squad, mate. Because some of them will just sit there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's that's been getting done for a wee while now, a long wee while, to be honest with you. You know, them sitting there and just sitting it out and getting big wages, right enough. That's modern day football, as you say. But you know, look, we've got to go forward. We've got to find a way. You know, we have to make it happen, and we have to make it happen pretty soon. I think this is the biggest season coming up in our history of a club, and I also think this semi-finals one, if not the biggest semi-finals going in a long, long time at Rangers, because we don't win that. It's down to one, and you know, we're still trying. It's another rebuild, whichever way we look at it. It's going to be hard, you know what I mean? We're going to be biting our fingernails again, I think. We've got to get them to come in, whoever it is, and there's no guaranteeing of that, but we've got to get them bedded in, and they've got to hit the ground running. There's none of this settling in and all that. We've got to get it done. We've got to stay with them. We've definitely got to stay with them, because I think if we stay with them, it's a different ballgame. No, that sounds stupid right enough, but you know, they have this cushion, that mad week that we had there, and with St Johnstone, St Mirren and all that. We'd have only been 2 points behind. This would have been a far, far different league, relative to what we think about the players. Because there's no pressure on them really, and every time we're winning, and we have been winning under Bale in the league, they're just going on and winning. So it's like it's bloody heartbreaking every week, because we're not catching any points, and the massive goals that were behind them, it's unbelievable.
Pressure does a lot. It's easy to play without pressure, but if that had been the case, Giovanni would have still been my manager.
Correct.
Albert,
Oh, no, and I don't think I'd have wanted that, to be honest with you. I mean, no, with Gio, but I didn't like his style of play. I really didn't. I don't think many people did, because it was, for Scotland, it's boring. It's totally boring. Too slow and methodical, and oh Jesus, no. Europe, well, no, I think he had the right handle in Europe. You can't argue that. He definitely had the measure of the European stuff. I think he was good in Europe, but no Scotland. Scotland, you just go and win the game. Scotland, you outscore anybody on the part. You just keep running right out of the tap with them. You just keep going and going and going and going. That's Scottish football for you. But he was trying to be tactical, really tactical in Scottish football. There's no really need for it. Just score goals, mate. That's what you saw doing. You just keep scoring goals and score lots of them. That's what they're playing across the city. They start right for day one of the season. They start battering goals because they know, mate, that this league is closer than what the 9 points suggest. They know that. So they're going to make sure they get that extra cushion of a good goal difference. We just don't seem to realise how to win a league. Like Tavernier and Goldson, I don't think they know how to win a league anymore. The league that they won undefeated was fantastic. But when it comes to a tight league, it comes to nip and tuck. And I think the leagues from now on are going to be nip and tuck now. You've got to then think, every game you play, every minute of every game you play, you must go for goals. You must go and run out of these teams. And that's the way it's going to be, because the league is going to be tight. It's basically going to come down to four old firm games. That's what it's going to come down to, mate.
Juicy?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, at the top of the show, consistency under Beale has been really good. But as Davey and Albert alluded to, we can't get any closer, because as good as we've been, they have been as well. And you're a fool if you don't acknowledge that, because it is a two-team league. It's always been a two-team league, and second is nowhere in this league, and it always has been. And right now we're unfortunately in that position, but can see that we have improved. And Albert's right. It has been a much tighter second half of the season, but alas, that 9-point lead is still there. So we're not going to really cut into it unless we win both Old Firm games, and then it's still going to have to lose 2 other games. So this is extremely unlikely. There's only 10 matches left. So as we said, we've got to go all out in that Scottish Cup semi-final and try and bring home some silverware, because we can still do that in a one-off game. Of course we can. There's nothing to say what we can't win the last three Old Firm matches. Easy for me to say, but that would be a tremendous carrot for us going into next season, because we must continue that momentum, Ox. Whether we were 2 points behind or 9 points behind, we've still got to do our business, and that's really important.
Yeah, I think it's important, David, we keep this run going, because I think it's important for the manager, because then the support will get behind them, if this run was to keep going, David.
Aye, definitely. Look, I'm cutting out because I'm loaded with a call today. And,
pity that never happened on Friday.
I don't start me, I'll start coughing. But it's a pleasure anyway, guys, speaking to you again.
All right, good to hear. I hope you get well soon, mate.
Stay safe. Bye. Love you.
Right.
Feel better.
That'll do all that chocolate has done him all better.
He's overdosed in Maltesers.
It was funny, wasn't it? It was funny, wasn't it?
Oh, it was funny. It was hilarious. Just a wall of Maltesers. Davy's buried amongst the Oryx Maltesers. Can't you see him for Maltesers?
Everybody came in, brought him some Maltesers. It was funny. I don't know who organised that, Albert.
Oh, I know. Well, no names, no plaque, will we? Come on.
No. Andy, I get your point. It's crucial, but it's not just one. That old adage at Bridge Huts, one game at a time, and then see where it takes you.
Oh yeah.
We've got a habit, particularly away for Ibrox, for scoring goals. And we just need to get something at home so we can steamroll teams with faster and quicker. Goals. It becomes more entertaining for the home support. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you've got 2 different factors there. When we go away from him, like, you've got the support that's totally behind him and all that. And yourself, within a couple of minutes, we're not playing well at Ibrox. They're on their back, and some of these players are not strong enough to handle that, in my opinion. But the performance has been great. Not really. But listen, at the end of the day, it was all about a W and 3 points. And we have been doing that. I want to see Rangers come back there, and is it Saturday, Sunday we play? I'm not sure now. I want to see them get stuck into them, not a lover of them at all, and give them a good scene to, and get yourself set up for the following week against them. I think it's important that we we put in a good performance there, you know, and get it back running. See, the World Cup, these games always stop at the momentum when we're trying to get something going. But yeah, look, we could keep that record. As I said to you weeks ago, like, I'm looking for like winning all the league games and winning the cup, and that's something to build on, isn't it? Well, I get that. I don't know, but you've got to keep thinking that's going to happen. You know what I mean? We've got to keep playing, doing what we do. Hey, by the way, just before I go on, don't you setting that wee bugger up for setting him up for the lines? Like, he got it this morning about that Windows one in the bungalow. I'm telling you, I was right on that phone at him. It's tearing me. Oh, I tell you, he didn't answer me at first. He knew why. But no, getting back to that.
Did you laugh?
Oh, I was laughing all right, but he's not like him. He's usually diplomatic. He's just he's all right, like, but he must have been on it a bit there last night, you know. So, all right, you just carry on tonight. I'll be seeing you in the morning. But yeah, he's very good. Actually, he really does. He goes mad with me, like, because like I said, I don't watch it. I make a snap judgment, and I don't watch players. I shouted at the radio when he said the boy for Sunderland. I think it was pinging the wrong one. I said, "Oh, you can't be serious." But he does study it. He's always been like that from when we were Waynes. Like, he's into all that kind of side.
Thanks to the Beatties for the support he's gave us overnight. We really appreciate it, mate.
Listen, that's nothing. You know, he Shug's on that side, Ox, because he's really good. He doesn't have nothing, but he hates to see people suffer, and he likes to do right things. He's a good boy that way. He's been like that ever since he was a win. Like, you know what I mean? Tip my hat off to him that way. He's the backbone behind the two of us, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just take his lead, like, you know, shout a lot. That's you know, he's a good man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were brought up well. You know, my dad brought us up in a good way that way. You know, so we try to look after people that are less fortunate than myself. You know what I mean?
You see the game, the two of yous. It's funny that, you know, all better the two of them brothers. You can tell that they see the game differently. Eh?
Oh, aye. That's the way it should be. Everybody's got an opinion on the game. I like that. That's what football's good for. You know what I mean? You say you might like player, don't like that player, blah blah blah. The way they play, the way they don't play. I can say I think when they didn't play well today, somebody will come on and go, "That's all excellent." It's great. It's just football, and it's all opinions. But it's I was the same with my two brothers. Well, one of them especially. Couldn't see. We never agreed then. You know what I mean? We sat together at the games. We had the 2 season tickets together at the games, and I'm telling you, we spent more time arguing with each other and watching the game. But that's just football. No, I mean, it's the beauty of football that there's nobody right, nobody wrong. Everybody's just got their opinion. So I like listening to them. Sometimes you sit there and listen to the opinion. You're like, I never even thought of that, man. That's absolutely brilliant. I've never actually thought of that. But only most of the time I think I'm right.
Just see Fox's message is a point for recruitment. How do you know? Obviously, there's times where I think we'll give players too long a contract, and I'm not talking about renewing contracts, about bringing players in. But if you're competing to get players in, how do you get them in? If you don't offer them that, if you only offered them a year, you're in a Livingston scenario where you're constantly refreshing and you have not got any assets. You know, you're gambling that somebody's going to be good and you might be able to sell them on, or you want them to stay and be a backbone for 2 or 3 years. So what's the length of contract that you would think would be the most advantageous?
I would like a 3-year contract because it gives you enough time to assess that player, and if they're good, then you can, in 2 seasons, you can start negotiating an extension. Some of the contracts you've seen in some leagues have been crazy. I mean, Mudryk at Chelsea, an 8-year contract. There's definitely some financial reasons for why I think English Premier League clubs are making moves like that. I think that's crazy, 8 years. I really do. So I think, in our position, the finances aren't as readily available in Scotland. I think a 3-year contract's fine. 5 years, I think is a little bit too much. What did we offer Goldson? Did he get another 4 seasons, or was it 3?
4-year deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that was, from his point of view, a very impressive deal. I would have probably just gone for 3, but it's not likely that we're going to be able to make a lot of money on him should we sell him in this time. So
nobody age, yes. Southside's convinced that he'll not see his contract out. Yeah, he'll move. You know,
I wouldn't disagree with that point.
But interesting. What length would you go for, Albert? Considering you only want to give him 12 weeks in or on the sick.
Well, I'd give them 3 year, and then. But by the way, the 3 year is optional regarding after the first year, the club has got the right to add another year on, and you've got to agree to that. And if you don't agree to that, the club have got the right to put you on a transfer. So you must accept that you're going to be leaving, because this carry on will go to the moment that all the powers in the club in the players' hands. You've got to, and it's purely for a fan point of view, you've got to wrestle back some sort of control of your club, because at the moment the players have just got all the control, them and their agents. So you've got to build into these contracts enough leeway for both the player and the club to get something out of this. I mean, look at Morelos and Kent, for example, and Golson last year. I mean, Golson's just, I'm no signing, and then what, one day or a week after the cup final, all right, I'll sign. That basically buggers up your whole strategy for your transfers. No, I mean, so you're sitting waiting. As far as I'm concerned, after the first year, that's you down to 2 years. We've got an option to say, right, we're going to sign you for a further year, which takes you on to 3. But failing you wanting to sign that year, you're on the transfer market. So you sell them on the second year. It's to protect the club. It's to protect what limited assets, money-wise, that you've got. You must build something in Oxford. It just can't keep going on like this, because me personally, I think we're making a rip-roaring mess of this, total mess of it. And that's why we're sitting at the moment going, we need to keep shopping and bargain basement prices. No, I mean, well, we shouldn't be, because we should have traded our way up to a higher level by now. But we've not. We're still trading at the bargain, going for free transfers and people out of contract and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, you still do your shopping in there, but you don't do your main shopping in there. You look for players of real quality to your budget. At the moment, we don't seem to be having a budget. We don't seem to be going up any. So, from my point of view, 3 year, we're an option for a further year. But if you don't sign, you're on the transfer after 2.
Interesting stuff. Andy?
Golson, well, I'll be right. I kind of agree with Albert there. I think in the modern day.
No, we're talking about the length of the contracts. I don't want your thoughts on Golson, yeah?
No, but my thoughts on giving him a contract after he refused to sign. I would have thought that nobody's bigger than Rangers. Well, in the modern day, they definitely are. They've got the power. I would have kept him at all. But, I mean, obviously, it would have to be a 3 year, because nobody will sign for a 2 year now. They're looking to the future and the way the rules are, their agents and the footballers are playing in it. I would have just let him go, because I'm convinced that they brought Suter in to replace him. I don't think if we'd have knew that Golston was going to stay, I don't think Suter would have been anywhere near Rangers. So
be careful. He never refused to sign, did he? Never once.
No, he didn't. No, it's just my opinion. My opinion is I would see when he went down there and his contract went down, I wouldn't have signed him. Mm-hmm. I don't rate him as a player. But, I'll get shot down for that, but that's just my opinion, and I'll not change on it.
Your opinion. But, so what about any new signing? We bring in what winter contract for you?
Well, I would like it to be something around about the 3 year mark. I don't like, signing 4 and as Juicy said there, the daft, but you're never going to get that up in Scotland right enough. But that's just ridiculous. 8 years. I mean, 8 years is long enough. You get yourself settled in a bit. You play. You're halfway through your contract, right? If he's loving the Rangers, he's loving the club, the fans, and all that, and he's playing well, then you offer him another one. I get all that, and I've got no problem with that at all. But again, as Albert said, we have some kind of money to bring in a better quality than what we've got now. We're still going down to these same clubs. Like you get free contracts. Now, you might get good ones out of free contracts, but they're free contracts for a reason. That's why they're out of contract. You know what I mean? You might get a couple of good things. You know?
Maybe they've not signed the contract, so they've got all the power and you can get them because they want higher wages.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, we've got to trim that wage bill and try and find, diamonds or, a couple of good quality players where we can get shot in the squad. Like, I agree with that. We'll have to, it's far too big. The injuries, look, you couldn't account for that. Look, even I'd be stupid to be mumping off about that. That's just horrendous. I've never known anything like that. But then I'm questioning why. Why did the two doctors leave at the beginning? Is all this again? There's nobody checking these records, these X-rays or these lung tests or everything that they're doing them. How are they getting through? And then the two doctors left early doors, didn't they?
Yeah, one of them went elsewhere. That's going to always happen. People leave, come and go football clubs. But
yeah, it's just the cynic in me.
People come and go all the time. I'm sure you've had more than one job, Andy.
Actually, I've had 2 or 3, but I've been 40 years at this one, so I must be doing something all right as far as that one goes, eh? I'm quite happy with where I am, but I'm one of them. I'm not motivated that way to go up the ladders and all that. If I get enough to put the bread on the table and get a few games that I did, I'm happy. The lady sorts it out. She's got a good job. She looks after me.
Right, okay, aye. I'd be interested to see. I think the point Andy makes all there about the wages. I think your actual wages per player is going to go up, but that's how you have to have a decent sized squad, mate. Yeah, the right size of squad. Yeah.
I think you need to work off the fact that you're going to the biggest your squad's going to get to is about 24, maybe 25. Anything bigger than that, you're just overindulging yourself basically. Or you've mismanaged the situation that, like we've got at the moment, we've mismanaged the situation into this carry on that we need to reduce players, we need to reduce the wage bill. I mean, that's a given. Every club needs to do that. You've only got a certain amount of money to play with. But wages is wages, and if the players don't want to come, they're wanting bigger wages. Well, they're kidding themselves on coming to Scotland because they know it's going to be limited up here. Well, look at the wee boy Raskin, that's the sort of player, and the boy Tillman, that's the sort of situation we should be going for. Quality players, quality young players. I'm not just saying they're quality, they truly are a better quality than the young players we've got at Auchenhowie. There's no doubt about that. So you're looking at them, these boys know their own ability, these boys are confident in their own ability, and they want to break into first team football, no doubt about it. They also want to break into the international scene, no doubt about that. And they've got the quality there, so we should be shopping at that. That's the players you want to bring. You don't mind putting them on a decent wage, and I don't mean a gigantic wage. I just mean a decent wage that we weren't getting at, say, Bayern Munich or the Belgian club of the wee Raskin chap came from. But then you've given them the opportunity now. You're playing for Glasgow Rangers. You're playing in a league that you've got a chance of winning. You're playing in cups that you get a chance of winning. And you're also going to get a showboat in Europe. You're going to get your face known in Europe, all over Europe now, because of the club you're playing for and the fact that you're going to, most years, if not every year, play in Europe. So all that selling points. And if we do the contracts right, we will make a lot of money on them. There's no doubt about this. This is what you should be doing, but we're not doing it. For some odd reason, we're not doing it. We're signing injured players. We're going and shopping in this English league, which I don't think we should be shopping in anymore now, mate. It's a waste of time, complete and utter waste of time. The market down there is dead for us because there's too many clubs shopping in it, too many fishing rods in the pond. So we need to come out of there and go to the leagues. I mean, that Stuart Gibson, for example, turned around and said he's quite happy to broker any deals and do introductions for the K-League. Let's branch out and see what's out there. Let's not just reduce ourselves down to this Championship and Second Division football down in England, because I don't think you've got some decent players in their leagues, but the majority are just run-of-the-mill players. They're nothing special, and we need a cut above that now. We definitely need a cut above that. And it's not just for Scotland, it's for us, it's for the fans. We deserve a bit more quality on the park. I'm away in a rant there, wasn't I?
Aye. It's all right, isn't it, Juicy?
Oh, you've got to let your feelings be known, and we don't want to restrict ourselves in the signings that we can make. And okay, finances will come into it, of course. There's plenty of leagues all around the world. Get a good player. Remember, doesn't matter. They're an Eskimo. We just want someone who can play for this club and put everything into it. So, Ross Wilson, this is Juicy Bear's message to you. Okay, improve that scouting network. Get some guys on some planes. Send them out. Send them out to the far reaches of this planet. Find some talent for Rangers. Come on.
Andy, do you find it quite sad that there's no players in or the Scottish teams that you think, oh, I fancy him, he'd be a good player in the team? Seems to all gone, doesn't it? It's a sad indictment of the state of the game.
Yeah.
Domestically, yeah.
Yeah, totally agree there. It's, you know, we went and got them, didn't we, when we wanted them, you know, but they're not around now, the quality we're getting. I mean, I used to argue like Maggie, you know, Shugs will tell you, we would down here and we'd go out when we were in with 30s and all that, and you'd get that, oh, there's only 2 teams in Scotland. But there were better quality teams that were playing. I always used to argue back then, I used to say, well, there's only 2 teams in every one of the leagues around the world. It was either Ajax or PSV. It was either Liverpool or Man United. There was only the teams with money always won it. They were always around there. It's only the Chelseas that come in it. I mean, they never won nothing till, you know, they got the big money in. It was just the main 2 in every country, Barcelona, Real Madrid. But the quality of the games, I would say, you know what I would do? I would tap the Scandinavian market. You know, the kind of like us, the tough, the rugged. They're bringing some nice little quality players are coming out from that part of the world. You know, we've tapped into that, you know, in the 60s and 70s, as you know, and they've done all right. And going down to the championship and getting games. I thought they made the point last night. It was a great point. And up in Suggs again, we'd said that down there, they win one, draw the next 3, lose one. They're happy. Coming to Rangers, if they come into that team, they've got to win every week. It's never going to happen that way, but they've got that's the expectations from the Rangers support. You know, so try and tap a wee bit of that. We've been there before, and it's worked reasonably well. You know, you need some toughness in that team, and we've not got that. And if you've not got that in Scotland, as poor as that league is, we've got a problem. As you said continuously, you can't put a hat in a mouse in some of these players. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's where you recruit. I think it's recruiting the right people, mate.
Yeah, well, that has to happen as well. If that don't happen, no team's going to do well. I get all that, but I don't want us going down to the champions. We tried that. We tried this method for a long time now, and it's not working. You know what I mean? So try something else. You know, I would have never have thought all them Japanese players would have come in. I'll be honest with you. The ruggedness of Scottish football, I would never have thought they would have run them up like that in Scotland. Especially in its first season, I would never have thought that. But they're just 100 mile an hour. They keep going for goals, and then when the main 5 burn their cell out half an hour, he brings another 5 on that runs the same. You know, honestly, I never thought I'd ever see that in Scotland. We've had people like Terry Butcher and Graham Roberts, or them guys going, before you start knocking the Scottish game, go up and try it. But these guys have just walked into Scotland and woof, and nobody can touch them. Nobody else below, is it?
And that's the problem. Nobody is touching them.
That's
the last time you see them doing them taking tackles, and nobody touches them, nobody gets near them. And that wee guy up front for them falls down all the time if you sneeze on him. But anyway, that aside, I get your point, mate.
It's going to be an interesting summer, old bear. We're going to have to players out, players in. There's going to be new signings. We're going to see Churioti guys that be particular favourites of certain individuals. Sounds the time waiting for no man, you know.
I just hope, honestly, I just really hope that we do our business early, because I can't go through another summer of this nonsense of who we're going to sign, and we get mentioned by every player under the sun, you know what I mean? And then it's right up to the last day. I don't want to go to the last day of the signing window, you know what I mean? And everybody's hanging round their tellies to see if you've all signed. That's nonsense. That's garbage. I hate all that rubbish, by the way. I like the business done early. If you get the business done early, you get them in. Once pre-season starts, they're all there, they're all together, they're ready to rock and roll, they're ready to integrate into the system you want to play, they're meeting all their teammates, they do a bit of bond, and everything works. If you start to bring players in late on in transfer windows, you're only a loser, mate. It doesn't work that. Usually, 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, the player that's bought at the last never ever settles. You know what I mean? They take ages to settle in. Get it done early. Close all this talk run about Rangers down. Let's go on with our business. Let's go on with the serious business of starting winning teams. Let's get the old Rangers attitude back and go out in that park, start winning these leagues and cups. I'm sick of watching this garbage about excuse every excuse why we don't do it. Let's get it done. I'm done. I want the Scottish Cup. I want a league treble next year. I want a run in Europe. I want the lot, mate. I'm no going to settle for anything less. I don't think anybody else should.
I think the priority is always the league title. Always the league title, you know. And the rest is, I think it's Southside season. I don't want to just pick him all the time, but the rest is gravy. You know, your staples, the league, juicy better.
100%, sir. Cups are secondary. We want to win them? Of course we do. Especially when it's an Old Firm semi-final, because it's about momentum and that's important. But it's not the league. It's always the league. You take the league over 2 domestic cups every single season. We could win 2-1 every season. It would mean less if it's 2 cups. That's it. If you don't win the league, you have to qualify for the Champions League, which we've seen how difficult that is. And that's the main point, isn't it? That's what you get from winning the league, is you get the easier path through Europe. And even if you have to qualify, you're on a Champions pathway against teams that aren't as strong. But the fact that Scotland go automatic now is a big thing.
Aye. And just in the last few minutes, well, you know, this season there's still a lot to play for in some respects, you know, because you never know if it can take where it takes you if you keep winning. How important is it that we win this sort of, if you like, mini league from now to the end of the season?
Oh, I think it's vastly important going forward. Like, you know, a lot of them's going, but, you know, some are going to stay because he's telling you there's only 5. So it's got to be put. It's a momentum that you've got to get rolling. I think it's important that we don't lose any game to the end of the season, especially not to the filth in any of them. You know, I think we've got to get that mentality now that listen, right, we are going to come for you. We're not having any of this now. Like you said, I mean, we're all disappointed in the League Cup final, but we did have after, you know, you get all your anger out of you and all that, and you think of the 20 minutes that we had there, the way they've equalised, was it Sashin that missed that one? But they got that, that's a different game. Totally different game. It's hindsight now and all that, and it's gone. We didn't do it, so we didn't win the cup, so there's no point really arguing about it. But we've got to go forward now. We've got to show them that we're meaning business. There's still a lot to play for. Listen, I'm clutching the straws, but they've not lost a league game for a long time. They get up at Ross County. If they get beat there and we win at Ibrox, that's 6. If we beat them up with a Predodome, that's 3. That's how quick it can change. That's how quick it can change. I'm not gaining nothing yet till it's mathematically. There's 33 points to play for a year. You know what I mean? A lot can happen.
Yeah, you never know that. You know, how strong's a good finish? How important is a good finish for you, Albert?
It's a good test for Beale. It's a good test to show the players that have just come in, the players that are staying, and anybody that's want to join us, that the standard is we've got to win games, even if they mean nothing in people's mind. We've still got to win them. You've got to win every game, mate. Every single game. And until you still that into your club, not let alone your team, your club, well, we're not going to go anywhere, because it used to be in Rangers' psyche all the time we had to win every game. It seems to have slipped out. A lot of people pay lip service to it in the club. A lot of players play lip service to it in the club, but they don't really truly understand that you actually win something. That's what you need to do. It's all right saying, well, we nearly won every game, but we lost last week. But there's always next week. That doesn't work with Rangers. You don't get away with that, as day 3 results proved during the season. You don't get away with it. You need to win every game. if you're wanting to be successful. And we only accept successful players. Let's
And
be honest
you
about it.
only need to win every game, mate, because the league's so poor.
It is, mate. That's definitely a big part of it, mate. The league's no poor, mate. It's crap. Let's call it. It's crap. And this it's a 2-team league. Us Rangers, we've turned this into a 1-horse race, no 2-horse race. We've turned this into a 1-horse race. We were poor performances in the transfer market and poor performances on the park. Let's be honest about it. Let's not hide for the fact that we've let ourselves down big time. And we've let them dictate Scottish football for far too long, mate. Way too long. This should have been addressed 3, 4, 5 years ago. But it's no. If we are where we are, we should be further ahead. But no. Well, we need to get ahead. And the only way we're going to do it is get this right. And that starts for the top down, mate. So get back to winning ways. We're back to winning ways. Let's be honest. We've done well in Beale's within, but it's not enough. It's still not enough. And he needs to drill this into this team. It's not enough. We need to keep going. We need to win every game from now to the end of the season. Drill that into them. Give them that as a challenge, because I don't think there's enough challenges get set for them. That mob across the city, the challenges all the time. We are the challenge for them, mate. They are not the challenge for us. They're chasing us. Remember, we're not chasing them in league titles and overall success with trophies. You know what I mean? They're still chasing us, and we've been crap for years. They're still chasing us. So let's go on with this. We've not got anything to aim for. We need to set our own agenda and our own standards, mate, and stick to them. And the one standard he needs to set this year is win every game from now to the end of the season. No exceptions, no excuses.
Same question yourself, just before we wind up.
I pretty much agree with everything my man Old Bear said there. Consistency is important. I've said it a couple of times tonight, Ox, that you have to win every game at Rangers. We were talking about when the new guys come in and educating them. Draw a couple of games, pressure's on massively, because it is a poor league from that point of view, and the expectation is you will win every match, and that's never going to change. For as long as we are here supporting Rangers and our children and their children, it's always going to be the case. I can't ever see anyone else, unless some billionaire Saudi owner decides to buy Dundee United or something like that. I can't ever see that changing, to be fair.
Yeah, funny she said that. I was reading an article about Malaga. When their billionaire owner came in, and they're now in the third tier of Spanish football. Anyway, we've reached that time of the evening. We've reached that. What's that, Juicy?
It doesn't always work out. You're quite right.
No, Anyway, we've reached that time of the evening. Andy, thanks very much, mate.
Been a pleasure. You know what I think about this show, and I've enjoyed it being on tonight, and I'll catch you again through the week sometime.
Yeah. Last word for yourself, Juicy, then, Alder.
Yes, fantastic. Thanks for having me on, guys. And the purgatory of international football is almost at an end. We can finally get back to Rangers and fantasy football and everything else we love about club antics and the Super Six, because I've got a lot riding on that this weekend, so I can't wait to hear what Southside's got to say.
The Super Six up there.
Super Sexy Six, that's what I'm calling it. I'm first in the queue at the Southside window at the bookies. I'm always there, first in the queue. Good to be on, mate. Enjoyed that tonight. Let me rant and rave and talk nonsense for an hour or so.
Oh, you're good at it.
I'm good at it, mate. Years of practice. She just sits and laughs at me now. No, I mean, she doesn't even bother paying attention. I don't blame her. I don't pay attention myself. Anyway, but thanks for having me on. It was great tonight, mate. Great one with Juicy. Look forward to tomorrow night.
Cheers. Thanks to Davey and Andy for coming on. Record Juicy. And Albert for doing the show. Fox and Old School Blue in the background. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10. And we'll be talking about all things Rangers. See what tomorrow brings us. Take it away, Foxy boy.